Right, in this video, we're going to talk about geospatial technology and mental maps. So in the other video, we learned about some of the concepts within this, and in this video, I want to go over some of the definitions and talk about remote sensing, GIS, GPS, and maps in general. So first of all, I want to talk about the study of map making itself, which we call cartography. So cartography is defined as the art and science of making maps, including data compilation, layout, and design. So the way that we think of this, and the way maps, used to be made is you think of somebody kind of rolling out a big old piece of paper and doing sort of the mapping out by hand. But as we learned in the video, map making has turned into an endeavor with lots and lots and lots of technology and information sort of ingrained into it. But regardless, it's concerned with the interpretation of mapped patterns as well. So cartographers not only make maps, but they interpret maps and increasingly sort of look for ways to display information. So we'll talk about how the different types of maps can do this later on in the week. So we would define maps as visual representations of the Earth's surface or any part of the Earth's surface. And we are going to kind of spend more time talking about some of the technology aspects of this. So we have three terms: GIS, which stands for Geographic Information System, GPS, which stands for Global Positioning System, and then remote sensing, which I want to talk about and go over and sort of specifically cover. So the first one is called a GIS, a Geographic Information System, and that is a framework for kind of layering data upon maps in a way, usually on a computer. So kind of a framework for gathering, managing, and analyzing data by using different layers of data and sort of piecing it together layer by layer to create a very data-rich type of map in which you're able to look at lots and compare lots and lots of pieces of data for geographic areas. So we see this most of the time when we look at Google Maps or when we look at things that are like Google Maps. But you can see some of the common layers that we sort of are able to put upon GIS systems when we use them. Things like where people are, streets, physical features and elevation, land use, and then kind of the human-built environment as well. So we see kind of that put together. All right, so the second one is called a GPS, a Global Positioning System. So this is not just the receiver itself, your phone, or if you have a standalone GPS receiver, but it's also the entire system. So all the satellites, 24 satellites that are orbiting Earth twice a day, and some of the control stations that are kind of built throughout the world to help with triangulation. So the Global Positioning System is essentially what allows us to receive accurate data about absolute location where we are, and why we are able to sort of ping to outer space our location, and why we're able to get directions so easily, right? So Global Positioning System helps to gather data about absolute location. It's the entire system itself. And then kind of a term that goes along with it is remote sensing. So this is the scanning of the Earth in order to receive information about it. So those are the kind of three important definitions from the video. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is kind of within cartography and map making, we have a specific type of map, and one we're going to practice, where it is a mental map. So it's essentially not based off of any other piece of information or using kind of any other piece of information, but what is kind of the way that things are organized in your brain or your perception or impression or knowledge of a place. So in a few minutes, I'm going to have you kind of practice your own mental map and do your own mental map. But like all maps in this class, we are going to want some things that we put on them, and I want to show you what those things are. So I have a few of them demonstrated on this. You're not going to see all of them. I don't think the date or the author or the title is on here. But we do have the key orientation scale, so I want to show you what those look like. And date and author and title, you can kind of figure that out on your own. So on this map, we can see kind of a key here telling you what is on the map and where it is. So this one, we have kind of the different levels of cities. Airports are shown, and then international boundaries are shown as well. We have the orientation, so it shows you the direction, kind of the directionally where you are within the map. And usually a compass rose does the trick for that. And we also have scale, which scale we will dig into and talk a lot about more separately. But this is an example of a linear scale, of a kind of a linear scale that shows us distance. So what I want you to do either on Nearpod or on your own, kind of just on a piece of scrap paper, is to draw a mental map of your commute to school every day. Or if you're stuck at home, what you sort of imagine your commute to school would look like. If you have no experience with our school in physical, kind of in person, you can pick another place within your community. But I want you to draw a mental map of your commute to some place and then try to include as much of the date, author, key, orientation, title, and scale as you can. All right, thanks.